The moment Emma stepped onto the school courtyard that morning, she felt the shift in the air, like the sky was holding its breath. She didn't know it then, but the next few minutes would change everything. It started like any other Monday at Westbrook High. Emma wore her favorite flannel shirt, her backpack slung over one shoulder, earbuds in, eyes scanning the halls for her best friend, Zoe. She wasn't popular. She didn't care to be. Emma was the kind of girl who read books during lunch and spent her weekends volunteering at the animal shelter. But for some reason, she had become a target. The school had its usual hierarchy, the golden crowd of athletes and influencers, the silent observers, the overachievers, the invisible ones. Emma belonged to none. She was just her. And sometimes, just being yourself is enough to provoke those who hate what they don't understand. It had been going on for months now. The subtle shoves in the hallway. The mocking laughter. The cruel jokes. Jackson and his group, the loud, cocky football players who thrived off humiliation, had taken a particular interest in her. Emma had ignored it for as long as she could, telling herself it would pass. Telling herself to be stronger. Her mom always said, kindness is your superpower. So she held back. Until that day. She was walking past the lockers when it happened. Jackson's voice rang out like a gunshot across the crowd. Hey, Emma, what's under that ugly shirt? You hiding something? The students around laughed, not because it was funny, but because laughter was easier than confrontation. She kept walking, but he stepped in front of her, blocking her path. He looked around theatrically, then grinned and grabbed the collar of her shirt. No one wants to see this mess, he sneered, and then, in one swift, brutal motion, he ripped it open. Gasps erupted. Phones came out. Someone screamed. Emma stood there, frozen. Her shirt torn. Her chest exposed beneath the tank top she wore underneath. Her cheeks flushed with humiliation. Her heart pounding so loud it echoed in her ears. But then something inside her snapped. Not fear. Not shame. Something deeper. Something fierce. Her hand balled into a fist before her mind could catch up. She launched it straight at Jackson's face. The crack was loud. His head snapped back, and he stumbled, hitting the ground with a thud. Blood gushed from his nose. Silence. Complete, stunned silence. Jackson groaned, holding his face, disbelief in his eyes. No one moved. No one laughed. Emma didn't say a word. She picked up her torn shirt, wrapped it around herself, and walked away, her spine straight, her head high. Zoe ran to her, draped her jacket over Emma's shoulders, and whispered, "That was the bravest thing I've ever seen." The principal's office came next. Jackson was already there with a twisted tissue shoved into each nostril, trying to look like the victim. His mother had already called the school, demanding that Emma be ex. Jackson was suspended for 3 weeks. He lost his position on the football team. His father, a local businessman who had always thrown his weight around, went quiet. For the first time, Jackson faced consequences. Emma, on the other hand, was given a warning but no punishment. The administration couldn't condone the punch, but they couldn't ignore what caused it either. The days that followed were strange. People who had never spoken to her before came up to say they were sorry. That they admired her. Some even cried. One girl admitted she'd been bullied by Jackson too, but never said a word. Emma became more than just the quiet girl overnight. She became a symbol. Not because she threw a punch, but because she stood up for herself when no one else did. But the story didn't end there. The real challenge wasn't just about facing Jackson. It was about what came next. Emma struggled with anxiety after the incident. The attention overwhelmed her. She had nightmares. She avoided the cafeteria. She questioned whether she did the right thing. But with the help of Zoe, a supportive counselor, and her mom, who hugged her tight and said, "You did what I never had the courage to do at your age," Emma began to heal. She joined a student committee on anti-bullying. She spoke in front of the freshman class about boundaries, strength, and knowing your worth. Her voice trembled, but she spoke anyway. Every time. Slowly, she reclaimed herself. Not as a hero. Not as a victim. But as a girl who refused to be broken. Her story spread beyond Westbrook High. A local paper picked it up. A nonprofit invited her to speak. She never glorified the punch. She didn't need to. What people remembered was her courage. Because sometimes, standing up for yourself doesn't mean screaming the loudest or throwing the hardest hit. Sometimes, it's in the silence afterward, the way you walk tall, the way you look fear in the face and don't blink. Emma's story is a reminder. You can be quiet and still be powerful. You can be kind and still draw the line. You can be torn down and still rise. No one gets to define your worth but you. And sometimes, when they try, you remind them exactly who they're dealing with.